Hey guys, all my new subs, uh, even my older subs that I haven't used this channel in a while. Uh, I can't even remember the last time I did a video before yesterday on this channel. But we're making some changes to it. This is going to be my main channel for a while. Uh, and it's just straight up gangster Watachi. I busted myself up when that struck my mind last night at the end of that video I did yesterday. That cracked me up, man. I'll tell you what, it just came to mind. Uh, but that's what these people think I am, I guess. I don't know. The one thing about starting a new channel is, like I said in my other video, I can say a lot of shit and get away with it. Um, this channel, I'm not for sure because I already got 57 channels, or 57, I think, videos on it. And I'm not for sure what's on those videos. So I don't know if this channel has gotten their attention with the videos that are on it yet or not. But let's see. And if not, I'm sure this one will probably do it. Uh, people, back in 2019, when that Operation COVID-19 happened, it was just a training that was going on. Well, when it went live, I'd done heard about all the training that they were doing, and people, they had it down. They had everything down to the letter. The places they had set up that they were doing this training at, they had the 6 foot distance stickers on the ground, plastic hanging up between the people, just like it ended up in real life. They had all this set up. They even had news. Not On the news channel, they had actual footages that they played on the news. Like, they had all this set up, people. It was all ready at what they were saying about the pandemic and everything and what was happening. They didn't even change the name of anything, folks. COVID-19 was what they were training with, and they claimed that what? They claimed 6 months later it went live. No, it went live in 2019, folks. It went live when this training started. Now, they had talked about this stuff clear back in 2015 when they were doing the Jade Helm shit. So there was a lot of us. If you don't know nothing about Jade Helm, that's something you need to look at. And I don't believe I have any videos left on it. I had them on other channels that have been taken down. But all that Jade Helm and all that was leading up to the next step was Operation COVID-19. That's the name of it. That's why the 19's at the end of it, because it started in 2019. I knew about what was happening in that training, and I started telling people, do not be tested. Do not take any of their vaccines. I was telling them this in 2019, folks. I told my parents that. I told them, whatever you do not let them test you, and do not let them vaccinate you. My dad ended up in December of 2020. He had to go to the hospital. He was on oxygen. He was 90 years old, folks. He was on oxygen, pretty much stuck in the house all the time. He couldn't hardly get away from his oxygen. He was basically legally blind. But he started having some problems with his breathing. Usually what would happen is they would take him to the hospital. They would do some breathing treatments there for him for maybe 16 to 48 hours, somewhere around that. He would stay. They'd get his breathing straightened out, and they'd turn around and send him home. Not this time, folks. Not the last time. Not the last time. He finally he got to the point he couldn't breathe at all, and so they called an ambulance. The ambulance came and got him, and took him to the hospital. Well, they told him before he was going to be allowed to go in the hospital, he had to be tested, and this was back when they were breaking through the cartilage here in your head, ramming that thing so far back in there. He told them at the door at the hospital, in the ambulance, that he did not want to be tested. They looked at him and told him, "Oh, what? Oh, yeah? Well, then turn around and go home. Take his ass out of here." That's the facts, folks. There is no misinformation about that. Not one bit of it is misinformation. It's facts that they don't want you to know about. Well, he let them test him. And he didn't even take the vaccine, folks. He let them test him, and he died within 2 weeks. I can't even remember exactly how many days it was, but it wasn't, he didn't live any farther than 2 weeks. He died shortly after they tested him. And he was crying about it. He didn't want it to happen, and buddy, he told me it hurt like hell when they busted that thing through the whatever that cartilage is there, folks. He told me afterwards it hurt like hell. He didn't live much longer after that, folks. My mom, I don't know what happened to her because Satan's Bride, my sister, had total control over my mom after my dad died because my mom had had a couple mini strokes, they called it, and she also had dementia. And my sister had total medical power of attorney and everything over my mom and dad before they died. And I don't know what they did to my mom. I don't know if she was tested, vaccinated. I don't know what they did to her because my sister never let me talk to her again after my dad died. I drove all the way down there to see my mother, and my sister used the sheriff's department down there to keep me away from her and off of their property, off of my parents' own property. My mom died 6 months later, folks, after my dad. My dad died in December. My mom died in May, almost right around my birthday. Almost right on it. This is not misinformation, folks. This is actual things that happen. Now, I started also telling people at that time that the mask, when this mask thing rolls out and they force it on everybody, it's the first step. It's the very beginning of the mark of the beast. The mask will be the very first. Mask will be the mark of the beast 101. And this mask was going to show them who was going to cooperate and who wasn't. You see who cooperated, and you still see them today, still wearing them, even after old Biden said it was over. The pandemic's been over. They're still wearing them. That was the mask was the pandemic, or the beginning of the mark of the beast, folks. And the mask, another thing about the mask, it's talked about in the Bible. It's talked about in Revelation. And it's talked about when the seals are broken open and the first horse that comes out is the white horse. And the rider riding that white horse has a crown on his head, which the actual word that was used in that language is corona. Corona. That's the name or the word for crown that the book was written in, the language that the book was written in. I think it's what, Greek or not, Hebrew or something like that. It says this writer will go out and conquer all nations. In his other hand, in his hand, now he's got the corona, the crown on his head. In his hand, it says he has a bow. Now I know most of you think and his job is to go out and conquer all nations. You guys think bow would be like a bow and arrow bow. No, a bow can also be a ribbon on a present or something. The actual word in Hebrew, or I think it's Hebrew, I can't remember now. The actual word for bow was toxin. Toxin, if you look up that word and the definition for it, meant simple cloth. Simple cloth, folks, that would go out and conquer all nations. All nations. That happened already, folks. That's done and over with. We're into the second seal now. Second. This is the red horse. The rider on it is to go out and take peace from all nations. All nations. He has a giant sword in his hand to do this with. People, it even states that these people of all these nations will be killing each other. This is happening already, folks. It's already happening. And by the time with the food shortages and stuff that they've caused, by the time this all sets in and winter's set in, people are going to be dying from starvation. People are going to be dying because they can't even keep warm because of everything these clowns have done. This last 3 years, folks, has been absolutely 100% put in your face. Your Constitution no longer exists. America no longer exists. Society. Look at your society, folks. And I've said this before in many videos. When society makes it impossible for you to survive, so society no longer exists. There's states that are taking away the fact that if you commit an armed robbery or if you rape somebody, they can arrest you and charge you, but they can't hold you in jail. You don't have to bond out or nothing. They just take you down, book you, charge you, give you a ticket, and send you home. That's your society. That's what it's turned into, this democracy. People, your democracy isn't even majority rule. It isn't even. I know you guys claim it's majority rule, which would make it mob rule, because you think you vote and whoever the majority that wins the vote, that's called majority rule. No, you're wrong, because half the people in this country don't even vote. So now all you're stuck with is half of the people that do, and then all they need is 51% of that half. So it's like 26% of the people in the population control the rest of the population. That's minority vote, people, or minority rule. And that's exactly what it is. Washington, D.C., that 10 square miles is America Incorporated. They are the ones that rule. Them, the Vatican, and London. You got your money, your religion, and your damn military. There's the facts. You guys, you can believe whatever you want. But when people are trying to show you and tell you things like this, and you just refuse to even think about it, refuse to believe it, you still want to believe if you're a Trump backer that Trump's going to save you. You still want to believe if you're a Biden backer that Biden's going to save you. They don't work for you. They don't care about you. All they care about is that 10 square miles of Washington, D.C. Let the rest of the country be damned and burn as far as they are concerned. They done taken everything this country's worth and had. You gonna keep following them? That's on you. It's on your soul. Make no doubt about that. If you're gonna follow evil, it's gonna mark your soul. So I suggest, if you haven't yet, I suggest you find Jesus' path that he left for us. He left directions on what to do. He showed us how to do it. If we want to find that narrow gate and be allowed into heaven, to meet the Father, to live in his kingdom. If you're not doing that, you might as well vote. You might as well take the vaccines. You might as well do everything they tell you. And I'm sure you are. But I want you to know, folks, God loves you. God loves you. I love you too, but God loves you more. He did what he did by sending Jesus here and letting his son be sacrificed for all of us. It's given to you. All you got to do is ask for it. And then follow Jesus' path. It's not that hard. It is once you get to doing it. Now, when you just starting off, it seems hard because you got to change everything about you. But once things start changing in your life, it becomes easier and easier. And if you guys realize that, you wouldn't fight it. God loves you, so do I, folks. Please. You see what's happening. Love you.